So one of the things that America is known for is the great American dream. That anybody of any skin color, whoever you are, can come to America and you can have a shot at a great life. And to an extent, that is still true. But a lot of things, variables, have changed to the point where the American dream feels a little bit out of reach for a lot of people. Hello. Today I want to talk about 3 ways that America legally and quietly scams you. So in the last couple of years, there's been a lot of talks about the Matrix, right? Originally stemming from the movie The Matrix, but people have been drawing parallel from that movie to the current system that we live in. A matrix, almost like a maze, impossible to break out of it. Once you break out of it, you cannot unsee it. So 3 ways America quietly scams you. Number 1, inflation, the tax that you didn't agree to. I'm sure most of you guys already know what inflation is, but for those of you who don't know, in a nutshell, is the idea that you're losing purchasing power year on year for the same amount of money. And the reason for this is because ever since 1971, which is when President Nixon de-linked the US currency with gold. So back in the day, the fiat, which is the paper money that you have access to, actually meant something. It was directly linked to gold. So you could actually take your money, go to the bank, and exchange it for gold. Which means money back in the day was finite and restricted based on the amount of gold that the US government has. But because at the time, the US needed a lot more money and it had a spending problem, they decided that the dollar would no longer be linked to gold, which they called the gold standard, and that it would just be backed by trust. And obviously that was a few decades ago, and in the last couple decades they've just been printing more and more and more money. And if you know anything about economics, supply and demand, that means your money is becoming less valuable day by day. Yeah, that doesn't really seem right to me. I wish we got to vote on something as important as this, but it happened decades ago. And the problem with this is that people's wages, their income, is not rising as fast as the cost of everything. It's creating a scenario where the rich people, the asset owners, people that own stocks, properties, they're getting richer and richer because the value of these items are going up. Whilst the people that work a job and live a paycheck to paycheck type of lifestyle, they're just getting skinned alive financially. The rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer, and the wealth gap is just getting wider than ever. I really think that the system is broken when someone with an honest job cannot afford to support a family, get a house, and just live comfortably. I think it doesn't matter if you're a bricklayer, a teacher, a toilet cleaner. In the best society on earth, America, you should be able to afford a house. You should be able to afford your family and just basic living comfortably without stress. But unfortunately, there are a lot of jobs that simply will not get you there. Number 2, they're selling debt disguised as freedom. Another reason why the Matrix is so difficult to escape from is that people are taking on debt. And once you take on debt, you lose your ability to think freely, to choose freely, and it starts very early when you take on student loans. So here's the thing. I think that people should go to college if it actually gets you a high-paying job, if it actually guarantees that you'll live comfortably afterwards. But in this day and age, I don't even know how much a college degree helps you get a job, unless you go to like an Ivy League school or something. But even then, I've heard statistics and stories about how people from Ivy League colleges are struggling to get a job. If you just go to a random college or a subpar college and you take on student loans, that's gonna take you years or maybe decades to pay off. You kinda just signed your life away to some degree. You're now in debt. You're now desperate. You now have an obligation to pay back the government. And that debt grows if you don't pay it back sooner than later. So there's student loan, credit cards, and a mortgage, which are all tools, but they are also traps that an individual could fall into, and therefore losing their freedom to think freely, speak freely, and as a result being stuck in the matrix. I think the idea of student loan and getting a mortgage to get a house is a lot more appealing back in the day. Back when a college degree actually meant something. Back when you could actually realistically afford a house. But now prices are so inflated, people's purchasing power relative to their income has gotten so much lower that you should really know what you're doing before you sign your life away. Point number 3 is what I call the addiction crisis. So this is an idea that I mentioned already in my last video, but the issue is that America is run by the corporations, and corporations only have one goal, which is to maximize profit. It may be a surprise, but Facebook or McDonald's don't care whether you reach your goals or not. They don't care whether you're satisfied, fulfilled, or if you have a happy ending to your life or not. They care about next season's earnings. They care about their performance, which is indicated by one metric: profit. And because their technology has gotten so advanced, fast food tastes better than ever. The apps on your phone are more addictive than ever before. The adult content, porn, that you can find online is wilder than ever before. There's VR stuff now. They pretty much found the most addictive, most appealing ways to appeal to this short-term gratification, dopamine side of your brain, preying on the weakest part of your limbic system. Also, they can extract as much value, life forces, attention, and money from you. All whilst you're getting in debt, the money in your bank is losing purchasing power, your paycheck stays the same, things are getting more expensive, and you're losing energy day by day because there's all these energy sucking industries that are just preying on you. Look, I don't mean for this to be a negative video, because I think life is very beautiful. Life is beautiful if you know where to look, if you can take care of yourself. And arguably, life now is the best it's ever been. But I do believe there are a lot of traps in the modern world due to human greed. So hopefully this video planted a seed or two. Okay? This is CL from Chen City, and I'll see you next time.